Hey there, kids. It's me, Oni the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the ONW radio show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, $1 million if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
Yes, welcome back after a week of absence to another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast, episode 188.
Damn.
And it feels great. Everybody, my name is Owen, and I am your Sharp Break Kid and your current predictions champion. Along with me today is my good friend, my good brother, all the way from Denver, Colorado. He is the one and only Matthew, the modern day Maharaja. And we are here to talk a little bit about Revolution. We're here to talk a little bit about WWE. Matthew's going to have to be filling me in on this because I've been on a work trip and I've been barely able to catch up with any of that stuff. That being said, we got a great show for you here today. And let's just get right into it, Matthew. What are your overall thoughts of Revolution?
Pretty good pay-per-view, pretty solid through and through pay-per-view we've come to expect from AEW. But great pay-per-view, shitty build-up.
Yep.
I'm glad some of the things that they did ended the way they did, and they're hopefully done, like the Christian and Jungle Boy thing. That was finally a good way to end it though. Fucking bury it, literally bury it.
They
like,
sent him to hell. They sent him to hell.
Take it out back, shoot it, bury it. Fucking,
that's a really good point. There were definitely some stories that I was happy to see the end of on this pay-per-view. Like you just mentioned, Jungle Boy and Christian. I think also kind of over the whole Wardlow, Samoa Joe stuff. So it was kind of nice to see somewhat of an end to that. But maybe that's not a complete end to that. So I don't know.
Somewhat. I think that's going to be a complete end to it because I think they're going to end up doing something.
They got to do something with Hobbs, right? Like Hobbs is the next guy.
That's what I'm concerned that I don't want them to do. And I don't know if you want to just get into this now or we can. But with what happened this week on Dynamite with Wardlow, Hobbs, and like QT, I think QT coming out made Hobbs look weaker because QT isn't kind of like that mega star or like manager level at that level. And like for someone who's so big and fucking has had all these vignettes, I just don't think that QT is that guy. It kind of lowers the stock a little bit. But because he came out and kind of like helped, I don't want this to then be like Wardlow's getting another match and they go into this Wardlow Hobbs thing. They need to separate them for a while, I think. And Hobbs needs to go on and kind of do his own thing and not have Samoa Joe or Wardlow in the picture of that belt to allow him to do his own thing.
I feel like they're moving Samoa Joe more and more into the Ring of Honor territory. And that's why they probably have done what they've done with Wardlow. To kind of like, I think they're trying to rehabilitate Wardlow because he's been kind of buried, in the recent months. I mean, he's nowhere near as hot as he was. I mean, remember a year ago, like how like big of a deal Wardlow was in comparison to now. It's night and day. He doesn't feel like a big deal. I also think, man, snipping his goddamn hair off was a bad move because he just looks so much more generic now, and
He does. He looks kind of like Braun Breaker.
he does. He absolutely does.
He looks kind of like Braun Breaker, and yeah, I don't know. I just think, and I was for it when it happened in Denver. Like that match was, I thought that match was better than the match on the pay-per-view, because I think the Joe Wardlow match on the pay-per-view was probably the weakest card on the match, tied with the women's.
I would, yeah, I would go a step further and to say it was the weakest match on the card. Period. I even think the women's match was more interesting than this one. Maybe the women's match was slightly more predictable. It was always seemingly going to be the way that, Ruby was going to take that pin. Like, you kind of knew from the get-go in that one where it was going.
Yeah.
I didn't see Wardlow winning that match. I really didn't. I don't know if, hang on, let me grab my notes from the other day. But I think, did I predict? Who did I predict? We both predicted Wardlow to win. So I guess we did, in the end, call it, but it was less predictable than the women's match. I also don't like the current situation with Powerhouse Hobbs after they did that series of vignettes. How is he a heel still? He's a face.
Yeah.
Like, it should be, they should be working on making him a face after that series of vignettes of his whole backstory and what he went through as a kid and everything. Like, I don't see them turning Wardlow heel anytime soon. So that all seems very misdirected to me. Like, it seems very just kind of thrown together, and it's Wardlow and Hobbs can be a good feud, but I think it's not the time and the alignments aren't correct for it at this current stage.
Yeah.
That was probably, it's good to get the negatives out of the way, I guess, of the pay-per-view, right?
And you can only build from there. I don't even think we really need to talk about the women's match. I don't need to. If you don't,
I don't really. I would say a couple little things that Saraya actually looked the best that she's looked in AEW. Yeah. I'll give her some credit that she wasn't wearing her Bret Hart jean shorts as much in this particular match. So I was happy to see that. Maybe some of that ring rust is finally wearing off and she's getting back into some decent form. I still don't really like her. I guess I'm happy that she is firmly a heel. And now we're building, I guess we've got a mini stable with her and Ruby and what's her face?
Tony.
Yeah, and Tony Storm.
They all wear black and have red and black flannels, and
yeah. So Riot Squad 2.0, is that what we're doing?
Dude, yeah. So, well, I guess they're called the
freelancers or something.
No. It's the it's someone's probably like screaming right now.
Yeah.
I read the thing this morning though on like Cage Side or Fightful or something. They're like, yeah, their name is very much the same as the Outsiders.
Yeah.
It's like the Outliers or fucking something like that. I'm gonna look it up here in a second.
Yeah.
But it's that, and then they were like, they're just too almost like NWO-ish, and with like their whole we came from an outside company, now we're gonna take over type thing. Plus, like, I think it's that mixed with a little wannabe DX because of this like green spray paint thing. Even though NWO did do spray paint, I hate the green spray paint thing. I hate the loser thing. I hate. God, I hate a lot about this apparently because I'm just like rapid fire listing things off. But Ruby, her promo on Dynamite
was actually good.
Absolutely. It did nothing for me, dude.
No?
I went the exact opposite to Ray. I've heard people say it. It made me not like her even more.
I actually
not as a heel not as a heel though. Just because I just don't like her.
You just don't like her. I think
I don't believe what you're saying as a character.
I actually thought it was a decent promo. If I'm being honest, I thought it was the best thing that she's probably done in AEW. I think Tony Storm is the biggest problem with this whole thing, and it's not her fault. She's just incredibly miscast in this role. How they should have never turned her heel. They should have kept her as a face away from this whole project. And I don't. Yeah, it's lame NWO. It's a lame NWO ripoff and a female faction, and we'll see where it goes from here. I think this is probably going to lead towards a return of Thunder Rosa. I think that's probably what's going to happen, and then you're going to have Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Thunder Rosa align to take on the three of the other women. Storm,
I can
Ruby,
see that. Yeah,
and
they're called. Yeah, so they're called the Outcasts.
the Outcasts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It
It
is what it is.
Little on the nose, but I do agree with you. Something with Thunder Rosa, try and bring her back and make her a big baby face type.
Which
thing.
I think it's a complete mistake. I really honestly I understand what they're doing because of the, we were in WWE type thing, but Thunder Rosa should be brought back actually as a heel, in my opinion. It's hard to bring people back after they've been gone for a while as a heel character, but Thunder Rosa, with the amount of heat that she's gotten, I think it would just play better if she was heel.
I can't disagree with that. But she was at a show recently, one of the ones down in South Texas.
Oh, was she?
Near the border. She was backstage, and they held a huge meeting with the women's division with her.
Yeah.
There, and apparently there was it didn't, at least not that I followed up on, that I got any of what happened, but apparently it was all very positive, and she apologized for some things in front of all of them.
It sounds like the beef has been squashed, whatever the beef was. It sounds like it's kind of water under the bridge, and I think we're going to be able to move forward from there, which is good. I do like Thunder Rosa as a wrestler, and I think that there's plenty left to do with her in AEW. I still think that she would be a perfect candidate to go to WWE. I'll say that. I think that she would absolutely kill it in WWE right now, but who knows about contracts and all that sort of stuff too. But whatever. Let's move on a little bit because
let's go to some positive revolution.
Let's go to some of the positives. I guess it's positive that Jericho lost to Starks. I got that wrong. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the match. It was what it was. It was kind of a bog standard match. I don't think it did a lot for Starks, to be honest with you. It was good to see him get the victory, but I still think he's in this gray wasteland area where there's I don't know what it is we're doing with this guy. What's the direction and where we're moving forward with him. Glad to see that it's not a complete burial with, the usual Jericho thing. So that's good. We did obviously mention the Jungle Boy Christian match, which came after that. And I got to say that over-delivered for me. Yeah. It absolutely over-delivered.
100% did.
And I've never seen such a cool ending to a casket match. Whoever thought of that idea to have, when the lid closed, to have the casket drop below the stage is a genius, because that's
fucking great.
That's how every casket match should now end, in my opinion. There is no better way to do it. Sorry, what were they? They weren't calling it a casket match. They were calling it the
final burial.
The final burial, yeah. Which is cool. I don't know, again, kind of like with Ricky Starks, what are we doing now with Jungle Boy? What are we doing now with Christian? What's going to be the situation there? Is Christian done? I don't think he's done.
I don't think he's done. I think he's gone for a little while.
You think so?
I think not long, but
he's only just come back, so it's
but I think just a couple of weeks, and then come back, and you don't really have to say anything. Give him 2 weeks. He doesn't have to say anything. Jungle Boy announced this week, right? I'm coming after some gold. So I don't know what gold that would be. I would think he's
All Atlantic?
Yeah, All Atlantic, which, come on, that's a whole thing in and of itself. They're changing the name, right?
Are they?
I think that's what they were saying. Wasn't that the big fucking Tony
Oh,
Khan?
I might have missed that. Sorry.
I'll
I'm
try and. I
yeah.
thought that's kind of what like the whole confirmation of his whole Shazam, Warner Brothers, fucking Discovery,
Uh,
AEW, like they're doing that big Shazam thing, and
I
so
missed this. I missed this.
this was his big announcement is that they're going to have a title match next week. Forget if it's any. I forget who it is. I think it's
Jeff
like,
Jarrett. Jeff
yeah,
Jarrett.
It's Jeff Jarrett, but it's over the border, so it's the first international. So now they're going to call it like the international something belt, which I like the All Atlantic.
It's weird because I've never been struck with the name. I actually like the look of that belt, and right
Yeah.
now, to me, I had this in my notes. Does it's a question really? Does the All Atlantic Championship feel more important to you than the TNT Championship? Because to me, it kind of does at the moment.
It does, and Orange Cassidy's been carrying it well and fucking putting on great matches.
I honestly think this was the perfect way to utilize that belt, to utilize Cassidy. I think it's done wonders for him and kind of for every opponent that they've had. But there's issues obviously if we've got a Jungle Boy Cassidy thing. That's not gonna work. They're both steaming hot baby faces that I don't know that you can really turn either one of those guys heel. I'd love to. I still would love to see Blood Orange, right? I'd love to see a heel Cassidy like at some point, but it's not there yet. And I think that there might be room eventually. There might be a way to turn Jungle Boy heel, and I think that his promos. That's just what I'm scared of. Is I don't know if Jungle Boy can barely cut a babyface promo. I don't know if he can intimidatingly cut a heel promo. Although I would kind of like to see a darker edge to Jungle Boy. I think that like, maybe in a couple years. It's not there yet, but it can come in a couple years. That being said, if Jeff Jarrett were to take that championship, whatever they're calling it now, if Jeff Jarrett, which I think might be a smart move, I think Jarrett and Jungle Boy for that belt actually works as a program. I think you can make that work quite nicely.
Yeah, you could make that work quite nicely. I don't think I ever would have thought of that on my own without you saying it. But I don't think I ever would have paired them, but it works.
It does work. It's somehow, I don't know why.
Works.
I don't know why, but when I see that in my head as a match card and like to me it kind of I don't know. Somehow it weirdly fits. I think it works with Jarrett's character. I think, being the veteran, really degrading Jungle Boy even more than Christian's done and all that. Like,
yeah,
I think you can make that work. But then what do you do with Christian when he returns? I was actually thinking it's tough to ever turn Christian face again. But here's the thing. Jericho is really annoying right now, and he's heel as fuck. I just have this fantasy of a Jericho Christian feud somehow. I two boys from like Canada too. You could do something huge at the Winnipeg show that's coming up. It gets Jericho out of burying anybody else, like, and now we can do something.
But isn't the Winnipeg show next week?
Yeah, it's next week, so that's not gonna happen. It's too soon, but
I'm totally for that. Like,
yeah, I think it gets them both doing something but not interfering with anybody.
But people will watch it. They're both good on the mic. They'll have good promos. They'll put on a good match.
Yep.
They'll tell a good story. That's really good. They should 100% do that.
I think so. I think that's
so I will say that they did. So they are changing the name of the title. It's no longer going to be referred to as the All Atlantic Championship. It's going to be referred to as the AEW International Championship.
I'm fine with that. That. It's their Intercontinental is what they've just made. They basically
which is what we already kind of thought that it was.
Right.
I don't know. I don't hate it. I just liked that the name All Atlantic It was something different. It
is.
It was something different, but maybe it wasn't taken as seriously because it wasn't something like it seems like a junior weight belt or something. Even less than an Intercontinental title or International Championship.
Well, now what you've done is we used to previously think of the TNT Championship as the mid-card, the top-tier mid-card belt, right? Like, that can now become the TV Championship. So, like, you're elevating the now international championship, whatever they're calling it. Now you're elevating that so it becomes the primary mid-card belt, and then you're sort of moving the TNT Championship down a peg, and it becomes more the TV title. I think that's what they're doing. I think that's kind of what they're doing. And it makes sense with the parallels between Wardlow and Samoa Joe holding the Ring of Honor TV title, Wardlow having the TNT. It makes them parallel.
They're going to do with Joe? I think they'll have him and Mark Briscoe for that title, the Ring of Honor one.
I'm down with that. I'm really down with that.
I think that's what you do, and then it eventually ends up on Mark.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to utilize him. It's obvious.
He did announce last night.
Yeah, the Reach for the Sky ladder match where
I thought it would have been cool if they had called a pay-per-view Reach for the Sky, but I'm very happy with it. It's going to be like an extended ladder, like
is that the idea? Is that
it's like you go up higher. I think he said they're going to hang it from the rafters.
Holy shit!
I don't know if it's going to be that high, but he said that in his promo. But he did say a big tall ass. He made it seem like it's going to be
a bigger ladder than usual.
Just a little, like maybe a couple feet taller or something.
Yeah, you're using because the standard ladder match utilizes the main, like, when we think of the ladder match, I think of Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. Like, that's my first, like, when I think of ladder match, that's a 12-foot ladder on that.
Yeah.
So you're probably doing what, like a 16-footer, something like, like the bigger, it's nuts, but we've already got we've already got Lucha Bros announced for the match. Lucha Bros on a 16-foot ladder in something like that. I'm in.
Give them the Ring of Honor tag titles. Have them run with that down there for a little bit. Get out of the AEW thing for a little bit.
I think that's
I think we saw on the pre-show for Revolution. I mean, Mark and Lucha Bros won that match, so that's where I'm kind of seeing, like, he's now announced them. Like this, there'll be a banger of a match, but that's what you could do with Lucha Bros to give more time to other people on the main roster.
It's almost theirs to lose. I also think it would be a great scene for a team like a Private Party or a Top Flight to be competing, in the Ring of Honor side of things. I think you can do something with AR Fox in that world as well, who has been incredibly impressive since he's made his AEW, debut. There's I also think realistically the Elite have worn out their welcome in the tag scene in AEW. I think the Elite competing for the Ring of Honor tag team champions, and I shouldn't necessarily win it, but I can see them being in that match. Or is it just too much because they've done the Lucha Bros thing to death?
I think they've done the Lucha Bros thing to death. They've done a ladder match with them recently.
Yeah.
And I think if you put too many people from AEW down there, then you're diminishing some of the main people you do have up top. I'll tell you this, dude. I will tell you that I fucking popped this week when whatchamacallit was calling out House of Black. Who was it that was down in the ring calling out House of Black? And then the Elite showed, the lights went off, and when they came on, it was the Elite, and then fucking House of Black. I thought that whole thing was fucking great. Oh, I think it was JAS.
Yes, it was.
JAS was in
They're going to be the first challengers for the House of Black for the trios titles. So
exactly,
is that what you're doing with Jericho? Is it so it would realistically be, wouldn't it be Jericho, Sammy, and Hager? I think that's what they will probably end up doing. Or Garcia. No, Garcia is going to be in there. It's probably going to be
Garcia.
Yeah, take Jericho out of there and replace Garcia for Jericho, because then
I think they're doing because I saw the graphic. I think it's Jericho, Garcia,
and Guevara. I would have switched out. I would have thrown Hager in there because I think Brody King and Hager can have real good, like, back and forth. Like I just see that in my head.
He could even get funny with it. Like
Yeah.
it would be like heavy, but like he could take the hat off.
I would put it on him.
And be like, I like that hat.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know,
Brody King with his face paint, and he's all mad with that stupid hat on top of him.
Yeah.
Like, there's something you can do there.
Yeah.
And
well,
but that's a good utilization of the JAS at this point because they've gotten real stale. It's also, it's sort of predictable, but it gives the House of Black a good first opponent that they can defeat and, continue hopefully a fairly strong title reign. In your mind, right call to take the trios belts off the Elite?
Yeah, I think one match was a fucking banger.
It was.
I watched it. My mom was in town. She watched it with me. She loved it.
I love when you tell me about what your mom digs with wrestling. It's interesting, hearing that type of thing. But yeah, she dug that match.
She dug that match for sure.
What do you think it was? What do you think it was?
She said that it was because we watched it after she watched the Raw recap with me. And she was like, there's much more like athleticism and they're going for longer. She was like, it seems like there's more, like, she didn't say high flying. She was like, there's more like aerial gym. Like, she was like, they're just moving so quickly. She kept commenting on like their cardio.
Yeah.
She was like blown away by, Buddy Matthews. She's like, he is fucking huge, that guy. Like, she was like, Jesus Christ, he's like bursting, but that's what she liked. It was fast paced. It wasn't, just brawling. It had move sets. It had a lot of other stuff like that.
Honestly, everyone was impressive in this match. There wasn't a single person that wasn't. Buddy Matthews looked like $1 million though in this one. And it did make me want to see a singles match between Omega and Malachi.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that I want to see further down the pipeline. I love the spot that basically, with the Elite sort of chopping down the oak tree that is, I just said his name. God damn it. The biggest guy in House of Black.
Brody King.
Brody King, thank you. Brain fart. But yeah, I love how they did that whole thing where they basically they were taking out his knees, and there was that whole spot where they had to kind of chop him down and get him, that was a really cool spot.
That was a really cool set.
Who got the pin in that match? Malachi got the pin.
Malachi got
on Nick. Nick. Yeah, on
Yeah.
Nick. There was a I love the bit at the beginning too where Matt wanted to take on Brody King and then decided against it at the last minute, and then the rest of the Elite were like, oh no, you're on your own here, you got it, it's on you, buddy. All of it was really, really good. I knew this match was gonna fuck hard, and it did. It over delivered for something that I thought was already gonna be good, which is saying a lot. One of the strongest matches on the card. I don't know if it's 5 stars, but it's damn close. It's certainly a 4.5. And the right victors. I think that you can do a lot more with the trios titles and the trios division with it being on the House of Black than you could have done with the Elite.
Yeah, 100%. And this made House of Black. They needed this. They 100% needed this.
Yep.
They were. In my mind, it was like they were
going to be dead.
flailing.
Yeah, they were going to be dead if they didn't win this.
And they looked really strong. The match was great. I think now it's believable. It's not just spooky shit. They're powerful.
They kind of just need to ditch the spooky shit. Really,
still have your entrance, but don't talk to me in riddles, and things like that. Like keep all your keep Julia Hart in her witch gear or whatever it is.
That's fine.
Whatever you get, wear your masks and everything, but the spooky shit doesn't need to be a part of it.
I firmly agree. I also think that it was a big mistake having, I want to say it must have been Brody King's kid that they brought into the ring.
Yeah, that kid did not look happy to be there.
And it's also stupid. For this particular faction, you can do that with a baby. You can do it still with even a heel. Like Jade Cargill, it worked when she brought her daughter in at one point, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of, that works. That's okay. House of Black, it doesn't work. Like it just no, and also like Julia Hart learn how to carry a kid. I guess I don't know. It looked really awkward and weird and like
I don't know. She's like what 20 or
yeah,
something.
exactly. It looked like
you know.
You ever hold a cat like that doesn't want to be
and it's
held
trying to
like
get
and
away.
it's trying to yeah it looked like that like I wasn't a huge fan of that part of it, but I am intrigued. I think it'll be a good feud with the JAS. I think that's a smart move. It gives them a very credible victory. And then it, opens up to what the trios division can be. I don't like those belts. Decided that. Don't like the trios belts. Don't think they look very good.
Huh. I don't mind them. They're not like my favorite, but I don't mind them.
Nah, I don't know. I'm not a huge...
I like them way better than the WWE tag titles.
Yeah, I like them better than those. But I'm not a fan of the AEW tag titles either, really. Like, it's the same sort of design they put on the new women's title. I actually kind of preferred the old one that looked more like the men's world championship. They just could never get the sizing correct on that. Like, it was always either too big, it was always too small. And so I understand why they did it.
Oh, I like these styles.
So you like them? Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
It's the same because it's that same style also as the international championship.
See, no, that one I think looks sharp. That one looks way better. I don't know what it is that is different, but
I don't know. I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
I like them. They all look good to me, but I like the women's one, the women's championship. I think that one looks good.
How do you, we kind of briefly talked about it. Obviously, right decision to keep the belt on Hayter. That seems like the right move. I think I from what I'm looking at, it seems like we're going to end up with, I think it's going to be Hayter and Saraya soon. Like, that'll be the next big pay-per-view women's match or something. Whatever. I wish there was a little bit more going on with that. I want to see Toni Storm back in that picture. Really, like I think Toni Storm should eventually turn face. And I think that she should be the one to basically make the breakup of, what are they called, the Outcasts. Like it should be Toni Storm that is the catalyst to that. That is kind of what I would
love it if they did it like today.
Right. Yeah, I would too. I would too.
We
talked about Wardlow Joe. It wasn't that great. It left a lot to be desired for me. Joe was fine. I mean, but he wasn't as good as the last time around we saw him, where like at the when he won it in Denver, right?
Yeah.
Like he looked great in that match. Yeah. Not as good here. Wardlow seems, I don't know, like they got to do something to figure that whole thing out. I'd turn Wardlow heel, but that's just me. And then, of course, Hangman and Mox. Haven't even talked about that. Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible.
Mama Stafford was not a fan of this one. It was the fork that did that one. It
was the fork. Yeah. The fork was pretty rough. I mean, there were a ton of spots in this where I'm just like, holy shit. And I wasn't even mad at the blading on this one. It had to be done. Like this is the match to do the Moxley blading thing. Like this is fine. Just maybe not do this every week on TV.
Yeah.
And the right victor. It was
brutal, dude. It was hard hitting. They just kept fucking making each other's cuts worse using those weapons over and over again. It was, I mean,
the bricks. That was interesting.
Yeah.
They looked too fake to me.
They did look a little too
fake. Okay,
yeah.
I'm not alone there. All right. They looked, were they made of foam or something?
I think it was like foam cord, like, those like yoga things. They have those, they may have been like painted and stuff to look more like brick or like encased in something but I think it's lighter, which made the effect, like you could tell things that they were doing. They didn't
seem like real bricks to me.
Yeah.
That was a little bit cheesy. Fake barbed wire as well. Not a big fan.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do barbed wire, just do barbed wire. Don't, or leave it out. Don't give me the fake shit.
Exactly. 100%.
But overall, great match. I think Hangman, they fixed him. And because there was a problem with Hangman, but this whole feud with Moxley, it's fixed Hangman. I think he's back in the picture again, and it's great. Like, I'm really, really happy that has, we've turned a corner with Hangman now.
Yeah, I think 100%. Remember, that's the thing I said for so long, was that great wrestler, everything. There was something, his character just didn't have that hard hitting badass edge that I believed in. Like when he was champion, and now I fully fucking believe it. And he could swing both ways, do comedy, do fucking hard hitting. Like I've seen the range now, which is maybe what I needed to do, was see that range in order for it to click. I always knew he was there and liked him, but that did it.
It almost made me want it. Yeah, that was cool. I thought that was actually like,
I didn't like it.
No.
I mean,
I like the one-off. I like it as a one-off.
I hope it's a one-off, because I felt like he didn't get the pop
that he would have gotten if it was his usual, just regular.
Because I think everyone was like, "Whoa!" and it just didn't hit as hard.
I can see what you mean there, but it did to me put him back in the main event picture. I wouldn't hate if down the road he might even be the guy to take it off MJF. Like I think. And we'll get to this in a bit. I think it probably ties in quite nicely with the tag team match that happened on the show and the aftermath of that. But CM Punk's coming back with it, and it's FTR. I mean, there were so many hints on this show. There were so many hints.
And then what was it? Yeah, when they went back, his face was on the truck.
Yeah, he's
Did you
coming.
See that? His face was on the media truck.
Yeah, he's coming back. It's only a matter of time, but CM Punk will be back in AEW before the year's end. It's probably a double or nothing type thing is what I'm guessing.
Like FTR, I guess that's what they could have done if you had kept the belts on the Elite, bring Punk back, and you do FTR and Punk versus the Elite for the trios.
But I also think that they'll end up with a trios match somehow with MJF, Punk, and Hangman, because they're all in they're all in that scene. I think you can easily do that. I was shocked, and it makes sense after the fact, like with what happened in the aftermath of the match, but wasn't expecting the Guns to retain. That's for damn sure. I thought it was, like, both of us did, right? I thought it was an easy, given that the Acclaimed were taking those back. But now it's maybe more obvious because of the whole FTR thing. They didn't want FTR defeating the Acclaimed because the Acclaimed are so over. They had to have a transitional set of champions in the Guns so that FTR can take it off the Guns, and no one's going to be mad that they beat the Acclaimed if they were, the champions.
Yeah.
So that's what they've done. Like, FTR is going to be champion in like 2 weeks. Like they're going to do that shit on TV. Like that's not even a pay-per-view thing. They're going to win that before.
I mean, they called him out for Winnipeg, right?
Yeah.
Like, also, man, Cash is not great on the fucking mic.
Cash?
Yeah, Cash is not.
Yeah, he's had good and bad. This was a bad week. This past.
It was a bad week.
Yeah, it wasn't the best.
But also, we've talked about in the past with AEW storylines that they like, some things we get kind of tired of, like the going through the feats of Jericho or whatever, MJF. Like, they use the same kind of tropes. They need to stop with this person, these people, their contracts expiring. Yeah. We think they're going to go to WWE. Yeah. We're going to have them hint at a bunch of stuff, and then they're going to show back up. They need to stop that. They've done this couple of times now.
The only one that's acceptable is MJF in the bidding war of 2024, because he started it years ago. He started it ages ago. He's now the champion, and it works. Like, now that is, but you dilute it when you're doing it with FTR and MJF, and
they did it with one or two other people.
Well, I mean, in a weird way, right now we're almost looking at it with Kenny and the Bucks. Like, at the moment, there's like a bit of intrigue around, will they resign and all this. So you can't keep doing that trope for it to be effective. It's great. It can be used and it can be great, especially with
Yeah.
MJF, but it also makes AEW as a company look a little shitty. And and when FTR is doing it, essentially, you're also doing it with Kingston right now, saying,
Oh, that was it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That was
Basically, fuck AEW, bunch of
done.
geeks
I'm
in the
outta here.
locker room. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm Ring of Honor now. Okay, well, it doesn't do much. That's not a good idea for the company.
Yeah.
This is gonna.
Yeah, this place sucks. I'm out.
Yeah, and and it's shitty to do even with a heel, but don't do that with a babyface. Like Kingston's a babyface. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Yeah, it's silly. Have to talk about the main event, of course. Fucking A is awesome.
Dude, it was fucking brilliant.
I've heard people say this online, and I think I echo the sentiment. Best Iron Man match of all time. I think it probably is.
I think it is.
It delivered technically, it delivered story-wise, it delivered in drama.
There was not one moment I was bored.
In an hour-long match, an hour-plus match, because of the end and everything.
Like 67 minutes total or something.
I've been more bored with 10-minute matches than I was with this. This flew by. Flew by as an hour-plus of entertainment. And my good God, did MJF just look the part of a champion to me. Like, what a physique the man has. I've never really thought of MJF as being like in stature big, right? He looked huge. He looked taller somehow than he's ever looked. He looked more jacked than he's ever looked. Absolutely shredded. And
I think it was like the white boots and the fucking white. Like I think it was the white. Like
something about it.
Made him look fucking tall. Something about it. I don't know.
Yes,
But he's jacked, dude.
Dude,
is fucking jacked.
If there was ever any doubt that he was the guy to be holding that belt, that was erased. That was erased completely. I thought it made both of them look great. I mean, not that Danielson needs to be made to look great, but he didn't suffer anything in this defeat.
No.
I do have a bone to pick with the finish. MJF has every right to be pissed off that Tony Khan made him do those extra minutes.
Yep.
He did what he was supposed to do, and it was a draw at the end of 60. That should have been MJF gets to go home. He wins as a result of a draw. I get it. You can't do that. Piss off the crowd. All that. You want a definitive finish. And I appreciate that. But as in kayfabe, MJF has every right to be pissed off with Tony Khan and AEW for making that happen. And that works with a babyface. Doesn't work as well with a heel.
Yeah.
And so I was a little bit like, I don't love that. And then, you know, the whole Shivani thing and like...
dude, I've said it before. Shivani always does these weird hand things.
He doesn't know what to do with his hands.
He's always like, so once he came down, he was coming down the ramp and his hand's like, and I was like, well, you know what's happened. You're the one delivering the news. Why do you look so confused?
Yeah.
Like,
You're the one here to tell us.
Yeah.
But if that's my only complaint, that's it. You know, it's nothing really. Like it was a phenomenal main event. It's for something that we knew was going to deliver. It over-delivered, and
now MJF can probably spin it as a heel, like Tony. I've like, I'm not gonna do that match because you made me do this extra, and you know what? I proved I can do more than an Iron Man and actually win. I guess, definitively, you know, so he could like prop up his ego while being mad and using it as a tool just to say like "fuck you" to Tony sometime or something.
I love the attention to detail that he had the water bottles almost planted so that he could utilize those to sort of refresh himself and gain a little bit of gas and get back in, you know, like I love that. I thought that was cool.
What do you think of him throwing water in the kid's face? What if it was vodka? That's what I was thinking.
I've got mixed opinions on this. Was it a smart thing to do? No. It probably, there's some ethics blurred on that, kayfabe aside. I think he was in the heat of the moment. He was stuck, he was playing his character, and I think he'd take that back if he could. It was apparently tequila. And it was tequila that, yes, he threw in a child's face. I've been reading a couple reports that they've since made it right.
They took him backstage.
Yeah, they gave him a ton of free merch and figures.
Let him meet all the wrestlers.
Exactly. Yeah. They made it right. But you probably don't want to do that, MJF. Like even with you and your character, there's still a bit of a line there that you blurred a little too much.
That's true, but I will say this. And legally speaking, like it's because it's a kid and there was alcohol involved, I think too. Yeah. Like if it was just water, I'm sure they still would have done nice things, right? But, they had him meet someone and like given him a shirt or something. But I mean, they do put a disclaimer on the screen before the shows, and then announce and they have the announcer say, like, read it, like saying that, like, if you're in this arena and you're especially in the front row sections, you could be a part. You have to be aware that things can get thrown. You can get moved from your seat, like that sort of thing. So
it's on your ticket.
They do have a disclaimer.
They do.
Legally, they're covered.
I absolutely think it makes all the world of difference because it was an alcoholic drink. It's still just like maybe throw it at his dad or throw it at his feet. Don't throw it in his face. I guess his eyes were like burning. Like that's what the parents said is like. I think about it. Tequila in your eyes would fucking suck. Like it would burn like an adult. Like we would be like, God, like I gotta rinse my eyes out or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened. I don't think that'll happen again. Yeah, but
it is a super heel move.
It certainly is.
I did see the arguments, online on Twitter, like some people who were saying they hate AEW, they love WWE. They're like, fuck you guys. Yeah, everyone AEW fans like fucking get so mad that Lacey Evans, did this. Like MJF throws a drink in a kid's face and you guys think it's great heel work and blah blah blah. I don't know. I still think that's different because that kid obviously had Down syndrome. I don't know how I don't know how they experience and like what if there is a mental cognizance like that they interpret it affects them differently emotionally. I'm not sure.
But why would you want to treat a Down syndrome kid any different than you would any other, kid in the audience that you're doing just a heel tactic? She didn't solo a kid out because I'm going to defend Lacey Evans, which is hard to do, but I don't think she soloed a kid out because he had Down syndrome. It wasn't that. You might have then got to the point of, oh, maybe I'm not going to do it. Maybe I'll focus my attention to the person next to that person, but she didn't like isolate and go out of her way to make fun of a Down syndrome person. Like even that's, I don't know. I think they're apples and oranges with the MJF thing too. Like it's kind of, I can make excuses for both of them, to be quite frank.
I feel worse about the MJF one knowing that it was tequila. Yeah. It probably had a little bit of lime in it, which did cause more burning.
Get in your eye, lime in your eye, it sucks. Talking about heel moments, though, seems like we got a Jon Moxley heel turn.
Yeah.
On this week's Dynamite.
Yeah.
Needed to happen.
It did need to happen.
And I think the whole Blackpool Combat Club needs to go that direction. I think that's also how you need to get... First off, I think, you realistically need to dissolve the BCC.
Yeah.
Claudio shouldn't be in there. Claudio should be a face, and the rest of them should be heel. That's the way I look at it. I mean, and, is Danielson even BCC anymore? I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem very much like that. Because we've got...
I don't think he is. There's
because Danielson's face... Yuta's heel. Now we got Moxley heel, and then I think you got Claudio more of a face. Claudio doesn't work as a heel.
That thing just needs to be done.
It does. The only way to save it hear me out, is if you go full Ring of Honor with it and you have to replace Regal. The reason the BCC worked was because of William Regal.
Yeah.
I got the fix.
What's the fix?
Nigel McGuinness. He's a Ring of Honor veteran, huge, big part of that brand.
That would work great.
And you have him
and keep it all on Ring of Honor.
Keep it all on Ring of Honor. That's what I would do.
And leave Mox up
at
AEW.
Leave Mox
and
at
the
AEW.
rest of them can be down there.
Yep.
And Nigel McGuinness. Yep. Do that. You don't have to, do that.
That works. That works to me. Anyway, I did love on this week's Dynamite first off, I don't know that I need to keep seeing Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal, but somehow they make it interesting every time. I don't know how they're doing it, but they do.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of, again, I'm really looking forward to Jarrett and Cassidy because I think there's a lot there that you can do. And I do think that Jarrett should win it. Actually, I do think he should. But did you catch on Cassidy's entrance on Dynamite the lazy firework?
Yeah, it just went the little one.
I want to believe it's on purpose. And I think it is.
Commentary even mentioned it.
It has to be.
Like,
it has to be
then. Did you see that amazing pyro?
Yes. But it's so fitting with the character that he would have the laziest pyro that just
it's so tiny and it's just one.
I love it. Love it. It's such a good.
It's great.
Oh, it's such a good thing.
Cassidy's been killing it, man.
He really has. Just when we thought maybe that gimmick was a little one-dimensional, it keeps evolving it slightly. And,
he keeps becoming a stronger and stronger wrestler.
Yep.
He was always good. We always knew he could go, but I feel like he's getting more
even better.
More and more. Even better.
Dude, the strut on Revolution. Him doing the strut with with the hands in the pocket strut. Yeah. Fuck yes, give me that all day long. It was awesome.
And I like that. They wore the black denim.
Yeah, the black. Yeah. With Danhausen, and Danhausen looked great in that match too.
He did look great in that match.
He looked great. Yeah. I think it's nice that he can probably silence a lot of dissenters in he's just like the stupid gimmick or whatever.
Comic. Yeah.
Right? No, he looked great. He looked great. He was fantastic. That's oh shit! I didn't even mention this. Did you see this news today? Per Andrew Zarian.
If you're talking about the news that Paul White is ready to make his comeback soon, and he still has a few more years for his in-ring performances, and I felt that I was done seeing Paul White.
I mean, that's that is way bigger news than what I was gonna say.
I read that this morning.
That was
blown away.
Way bigger news than what I'm about to say. But per Andrew Zarian, Zarian is usually pretty damn on the money with when he says stuff. But he says that AEW is getting another TV show on Warner property. It's been hinted at that it'll air on Saturdays at 6:05 on TBS. But that's all to be confirmed. Expect an announcement next month of some sort. It's an in-ring show, a 4th hour of wrestling on TV. Is this a good idea or not, in your opinion, Matthew? Because I got some thoughts.
It's interesting because we said for so long they needed to have this other show or do something, we talked about it for a long time. The way that things have been being booked and the stories that Tony's been telling, I don't think he can do another full hour of TV a week.
And he's saying it's going to be on Saturdays at 6:05. That's a death spot, first off.
That's a death spot.
That's a death spot. And you're expecting people, what does this do to Rampage then, too? Because now you're doing Friday and Saturday shows? How is that going to work? Are we doing...
Are they... I bet what they'll do...
is they move... I think they just move Rampage to Saturdays and it becomes a 2-hour show.
Yeah, you could do that. Because I was going to say, what they're probably going to do is...
Saturdays at 6:05 is a better spot than Fridays at 10.
Yeah. you think they're going to record all 4 hours every week?
I don't
at
know
one
how
time?
they do that. Do we? I know it would.
Because your fans are going to get real tired.
Real tired.
And
we
you- and
already
you're gonna-
see that
you're
fatigue
gonna peak
with
into your-
Rampage tapings in general. Like, that fatigue is there. Adding
Yeah.
another hour to that, I don't know.
Well,
That's
and
risky.
it's because you peaked at 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because you had your main show, and now
Mhm.
you're doing like the lesser of the shows after.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I don't
And
know.
I think you would still see that fatigue if you recorded an hour before and an hour after, or even.
I know they're doing Honor Club stuff and everything for Ring of Honor, but is maybe this a way to get some of the Ring of Honor stuff onto TV? Like, are we gonna have
But I
maybe an
thought the whole
hour?
point of that was for them to have their own
Have
network.
streaming service
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, it's confusing. They do say
What happens with Dark?
He says on Warner property. So could that be part of the beginning of the streaming deal with a Warner, like on Discovery or HBO or one of them, like streaming services that they is in connection? It doesn't necessarily mean it's on TV. If they say Warner, if he's saying Warner property. But then he says, no, I'm wrong, because he says it'll air on Saturdays on TBS. So I'm wrong. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that makes no sense then. Yeah. Confusing. I don't know how they do it. Good luck to them. But I just don't see that to be particularly fruitful of a business decision for them.
Yeah.
It's going to oversaturate things. Again, you've already got Dark. You got Dark Elevation. Now you got the Ring of Honor stuff. Now you got the, how can you fit in another hour?
Yeah.
It just,
And it's not being put in a place that people are going to care about it.
Agree. Yeah.
It's not must-see viewing.
No, it's not. It's not. Did you see how Juice Robinson popped up on this week's Dynamite? And how underwhelming that was? Because everybody thought it was going to be Jay White with the Bullet Club music. And then, no, it's Juice Robinson. Also, is Bullet Club dead? It feels like it is. Kind of dead.
It's kind of dead, yeah.
Like, it feels like it's just not very cool anymore. Like it's lost all the cool appeal that it used to have in my mind. But
yeah, it definitely has.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Jay White guy.
I'm not either.
I'm not a big Juice Robinson guy. I mean, Tama Tonga's not even in Bullet Club anymore now. Like, I don't even know. Like, and you got a lot of the Impact guys in there.
It's like when
Chris Bay, I think, is in
NWO
there.
got too big, and then like it started fizzling, and then they like made like the outside, the Wolf Pack, the red one, and then they had the red and black, and then the white and black.
And then they had Latino World Order for a while.
LWO, and it's like, what? All right, can we? Come on, everyone! Like that's kind of what Bullet Club has become.
It is. Ace Austin isn't he in there now? I think he's in there.
I have no idea.
But yeah, it's a bunch of like goddamn jabronis.
Gonna...
It's a bunch of goddamn jabronis from Impact. Is half of Bullet Club now. Chris Bay, I know, is in there. I'm pulling up. I'm trying to find the current roster.
Pull it up too.
Let's see
All
here.
right,
Former part-time. Oh wow, Brandy Rhodes is listed as a part-time member. That's funny. Current. All right. Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, David Finlay, Dick Togo, El Phantasmo. He's actually really good. Evil's in Bullet Club? I didn't fucking know Evil was in Bullet Club. Gato, Kenta. I didn't know Kenta was in there either. Not paying attention. Sho, don't even know who that is. Tajiri Shimori, he's in there. And Yujiro Takahashi, he's in there.
Carl Anderson.
US. Ace Austin, I was right. US. Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Juice Robinson, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows are all considered current members of the Bullet Club. Pretty weak lineup right there. Because, of course, Jay White's gone. Like, they kicked him out of there. He's not in there anymore because he had to,
Still wouldn't have elevated it for me.
But when Jay White is your top dude, like the most interesting guy, I'm not into it.
Yeah, not into it.
Bullet Club, calling it here right now. You dead. You dead. Evil's the coolest guy in your group. Evil and Kenta are the coolest guys in your group. Takahashi's actually pretty cool too. But but Evil and Kenta, that's really it. That's really what you got. David, David Finlay. I mean, he's a decent wrestler, but he's not cool.
Yeah,
he's not cool.
It's dead.
It's dead.
You don't have
dead.
to sell me on it.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to take a couple-minute break and come back with some more WWE related content?
Yeah, let's do it,
dude. You're gonna have to take the lion's share of this next segment because you're gonna have to fill me in on all the goings on of the Bloodline and Sammy and Cody. Like, you're gonna have to let me know because I haven't seen a ton of it. I've seen a couple clips, but that's about all I got.
All right.
Friend.
Yeah, I'll explain it to you like you're the wrestling fan you are, and not like my mother when she was here and I explained to her the entire Bloodline.
Yeah. I think you can skip over some of it, and just, we can just get to the highlights of this past week. I just haven't seen Raw or SmackDown, so
I'll hit you with the highlights.
Good. I also want to talk a little bit about I'm gonna throw this out to you, and it's a reason to stick around because I think it's gonna be a very fun exercise. But I saw this online, and I've seen a lot of very funny, comments on this particular thread. But we're gonna continue it here on Ono Wrestling, and we're gonna try and book a match or card that'll make Jim Cornette want to kill you. So all of that with some WWE news when we get back from break. Here's some tunes. If you're listening on the Twitch, we'll be about 10 minutes or so. If you're listening on the podcast, well, you don't have to worry about that because I'll cut this out and we will be right back. That being said, what do we want to give these people as we roll out of here, Matthew? Because I think they need a little bit of a woo! second segment of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for sticking around if you're there on Twitch, twitch.tv/ONRS Live. That stands for ONW Radio Show. We'll be doing that tomorrow, so make sure to tune in around 8:30 tomorrow night over there on twitch.tv/ONRS Live. Yeah, it's getting back into the groove, into the swing of things, as we've had a week or so off due to my work, God damn it, fuck a job, Like, gotta do all this
Fuck a job.
stupid job
Gotta
stuff.
go places and do things. And
Not a big fan.
Yeah.
Not a big fan. But anyway, we're here to talk in this second segment a little bit more about the WWE. Before we do that, I wanted to read some Twitch or some Twitter stuff rather. That man, Ric Flair's on one again. Ric Flair is he loves his Twitter. He's calling out Dutch Mantel, which Dutch Mantel,
I saw that.
Dutch Mantel, he's a pretty questionable individual. Has some controversial opinions in the world of both wrestling and even politics and that type of thing. But we're not here to talk about that. What Ric Flair just said is indirectly to Dutch Mantel. He said, "Thank God they used the word veteran and didn't call you a legend. Just a miserable old wrestler trying to make a buck. And by the way, you never had a legacy to begin with." Woo! Fucking. Now, is Flair a bit of a dickhead for saying that? Yeah. Is he wrong? No. Where's the lie, folks?
Yeah.
Dutch Mantel is kind of a jabron, and and I'm glad that Ric Flair, I like a good old man fight, a good old man Twitter
good old man fight.
Dutch Mantel could probably beat the fuck out of Ric Flair though still right now. What do you think? Who you got in the fight, Dutch or Rick? I think Dutch probably takes him, man.
Dutch takes him.
He does kind of take him.
Yeah.
At least, Dutch does have a cool mustache. I'll give him that. His facial hair game is always been on point, but
yeah, that's true. He does have that big fucking burly.
But legend, no, not really. He's not,
Nah.
What is he even talking? What's in relation to? Why is Ric Flair saying this? Like, thank God they used the word veteran and didn't call you a legend. I'm guessing Dutch Mantel was mentioned on WWE television or something.
I
don't know where it comes from. I don't know what started in it.
I've got something here. So it looks like, let's see. So Flair's last match, blah, blah, okay. All right, I know. Let's see. All right. Okay. So let's see. Mantel was best known to the younger fans as Zeb Coulter.
Yeah.
Knocked Flair on the latest episode of Storytime with Dutch Mantel because he's got a podcast about it.
Oh, so it's some podcast beef.
And so he said, "quote I've had people write me, and seriously, people thought he was gonna die." He's talking about Rick's last match.
Okay.
I think he passed out a time or two in there. He doesn't even remember it. Ric Flair is now trying to leave a legacy, and he should have left it alone or changed a lot of things in that match because his legacy now is tarnished. I don't know. Ric Flair is full of shit and always has been.
And Flair is commenting back, "Well, at least I have a legacy. At least I am a legend." Basically, fuck it. Yeah, you know what? Kind of on Flair's side on this one. Kind of on, which is weird because it's pretty rare that happens. And
then Flair followed up with another tweet saying, "I just made you more famous than you'll ever be from a single tweet."
Woo! He's not wrong. He's not wrong at all in any of that. Oh, it's funny. Ah, man.
It's funny.
So you gotta help me out here, man, because I've been really behind on WWE and what's been going on this past week. So give me some highlights, my friend, from
yeah, we should have started the WWE segment with me just so. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah. Did he do it again? No,
I don't think he's done it since Roman did it to him.
Yeah.
Which, whatever.
That was actually great. Yeah, that was
great.
Awesome.
That promo was great. We didn't get to talk about it, but that promo was great.
It really
not
was.
this last SmackDown, but the week before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, Bloodline stuff was pretty much like the biggest stuff on Raw that happened. Uh, and they again, I think they're utilizing it fairly well when they're bringing little segments throughout the entire show, so that you're able to kind of keep things moving forward. They started the show with it, they closed the show with it, with segments like in ring, in the arena,
Mhm.
which was great. So basically, like KO had come out, like had this thing and then match and everything, and then Sammy ends up showing up, right? Sammy's like, listen, I know like we can't be the same way that we ever have been.
But he's trying
You
to
know,
win back KO's affection in a
he,
way,
well,
right?
in kind of a way, but he very clearly states, like we don't like in the backstage. He's like, I know that you're not like we're never gonna get back to where we were, and he's like, but we have the same goal.
Right.
You've been fighting the bloodline for over a year or something, and you want to take them down. You can't take them down by yourself. And even though we might not be good friends or anything like that ever again, our goal is to take down the bloodline, and I know
The
how to
enemy
do it,
of
and I need
it's
you.
the old the enemy of my friend is a friend by proxy type thing because we have a common
Exactly.
interest of
Yeah.
taking down
And
Roman and the bloodline. Yeah.
And KO says, no, I'm just not going to do it. I don't need you. I don't want to be a part of this with you. Like, he's like, you do. He's like, maybe you should go back to Roman, like, get your accolades, do whatever, He was like, go back. And he was like, you wanted to be in there so much to begin with. He was like, I don't need you at all. Like,
So
for any of
they're
this.
still doing that then. All right.
So they're still doing that. But then in the closing of the show, because once again they did the whole, which I'm glad this is finally done, the whole fucking Jimmy calling Jay throughout, like being like, where are you?
Right.
So Jay shows up during the match and comes in, and then or after the match, and shows up, and then he goes into the ring and reunites the Usos and says, like, does this whole thing where he's like, sorry, that was last night. Sorry, that was last night. He came up, showed up, and then he gets in the ring, has a face-to-face with his brother, gives him a hug and everything like that. So you think this is it. They're back together. He then rolls out the other side of the ring where Sammy was in the rampway, walks up to Sammy, gives Sammy a hug, like says something, and then Jimmy's in the ring, like,
what the fuck, bro?
Yeah. What the fuck? And then Sammy's like, we're fucking blah, blah, blah. Like, kind of talking, they're staring each other down. And they did it. They waited a good amount of time. I remember I was watching with my mom. I was like, he's going to fucking kick him. Like, I could just see him footing himself, like, waiting for that right spot.
You're saying Jay's about to kick Sammy? Is that the...
Yeah. And then fucking...
It happened.
Fucking super kicks him, knocks him out. Fucking... Usos reunite, and then last night on SmackDown, he got to talk about it. That's where I kind of jumped ahead. And sorry, I hit my vape pen.
Totally good.
So anyway, so he gets to when he's talking about it, what was interesting, and I think this is going to play into the whole KO thing eventually when we have this match, I think that because he said, he was like, listen, he was like, I like Sammy. I wanted Sammy in the bloodline, and I like side with Sammy on, and he's like, family. This is family, and I had to make a decision. And he's like, and as much as I respect him and I fucking like him, like, I had to do this for the family. So he's still planting that, like, he is a fan of Sammy. He likes Sammy.
He had to do it more than he wanted to do it.
Exactly.
Right.
And so he was very, very clear about that. So I'm wondering if when they finally do have this match, if he does something to help Sammy get those titles away, to help. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I wonder if there's some swerve they have planned.
But it clearly does seem that even though we haven't like figured it out yet how we get KO and Sammy back together, that it will be Usos against Sammy and KO at Mania still. Like we're getting
I
down.
think that's still 100% what we're getting. I do like how they have, so like Cody Rhodes did run out to help Sammy. So they are working that in.
And that's nice because it would be a shame if you were to completely abandon Sammy from the title picture and just because of the Cody Roman stuff, right? Like it would be a shame to just flush that down the toilet. And it's nice. It does seem like because that's part of the only thing I did see was this, was that interaction. And I really enjoy that. Like, oh, it's sort of like sows in seeds of doubt that like, Sammy and KO or Sammy and Cody can have a feud down the road, possibly later on as well. Like it's like there's
and it's that, and it also, I talked
about
does
Sammy help Cody win and screw Roman, that type of thing. Like it adds another layer to that whole deal.
Yeah. It adds a layer to the whole thing, which I think was needed for me in the Cody Roman to keep that, like, it makes it look stronger because it involves like this much bigger story. And even though Cody's not like, he has his own storyline and it's his own bit, like he's in that enough that it like brings that story kind of into it. And I think that's okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Many other takeaways from this week's Raw, SmackDown, like
Viking Raiders beat Braun and Ricochet, so it seems like maybe they'll start jobbing out, and but it seems like they're gonna try and push Viking Raiders, in my opinion.
I mean, this has got to be the last chance. Like they've never looked good on the main roster. They had a decent run in NXT and it, but even still, I just don't know that they work quite well in the system of WWE. They were so much better as War Machine in, other companies. They weren't so reliant on the gimmick of the Viking thing, like they were just kind of badasses that dressed like Vikings, a little bit. Like that's where they need to go. I think that they've kind of done the opposite of that with bringing in Sarah Logan, Valhalla into the mix, and like they've gone the other way. They've gone extreme into the gimmick side of things rather than like just be badasses. It's kind of like what we were talking about with who were we talking about? Kind of this whole thing earlier. House of Black, right?
House of Black,
yeah, exactly. It's kind of the same type of deal. Like, just kind of get away from the spooky shit and just be badasses. Like that's I don't know.
Action speaks louder than words. So just show up, fucking have hard hitting fucking matches, beat people up, and fucking you can look however you want to in that whatever gimmick it is, but just do that and don't go overboard with all the extra fucking shit. I don't need that storyline.
Is it still looking like they're turning Chad Gable face?
Yes.
I like that.
I do like that a lot too. And I think he's going to get he's got a good momentum going right now.
I think so too. I think so.
So I'm totally for that. So I think they're definitely still turning him face.
I like him. I like him and Gunther as a match. And I actually could see a face Gable, David and Goliath type situation with Gable toppling Gunther like later down the road. I actually I think that works.
Yeah, I think that works too. We also had Logan Paul show up on yet another episode of Miz TV with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
I seem to be stuck on that. I think we're kind of getting to a point in some of these that like WrestleMania can't get here soon enough for some of these things. Like
they're
they
dragging their feet now. It's
so we don't have tons to go through because we kind of know how things are shaping up right now. But I do think that they announced Rey Mysterio for the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So they're gonna do that.
Gonna be inducted by Conan. Which I guess that was like a stipulation that Ray wanted. Like he 100% was, not it has to be him. Like for me, it has to be him. That's cool. Like I'm down with that. But I think you were about to say what we all are thinking. That will be at the Hall of Fame ceremony. That's how you basically do a last minute match before WrestleMania to get Dominic and Rey on the card. As he attacks him, he attacks his dad at the Hall of Fame ceremony. That's what they're gonna do, right?
Right? Yeah, I guess. I mean, they've got to, because Dominic came out after they announced this, and then and then they still had what's his name, the whole Santos Escobar, and then Dom saying, like, it's just now, it's again. Can you wait till the Hall of Fame to pull that trigger? Like,
right.
Maybe, but you can't have Dom on TV. It's just it's coming off because he's doing the same thing. You weren't there for Christmases. You weren't there for birthdays.
Yeah.
You were on the road. Yeah, you're a Hall of Famer because you're not a Hall of Fame dad. Blah blah blah. Like, just that. But he's been saying that same thing for a long time. So I guess it goes into what I said right before I brought that up. Brought up that they're dragging some things. This one has been dragging for a really long time for me.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, it does make sense. You do it at the Hall of Fame.
I don't think that that match isn't selling any tickets, really. Like, it's there. People want to see it. It will be entertaining. It will have some drama, but I don't think it's selling any tickets. So it's okay to not announce that, weeks before. Like, I think you can do that as a last-minute addition to the card. So I'm okay with it in that aspect. It could actually be pretty entertaining. Rey kind of has to win, though, but he might not, to put over his kid. Like, it's a dodgy one to kind of like think of and predict, but I can see that going either way, and in a way that does make it somewhat interesting. So
yeah, Dom did say he wishes he had been Eddie's kid.
Oh,
say that last night.
I feel like Vicky Guerrero, now that she's done with AEW, is going to make an appearance with some of this. It's excuse me, it's going to happen.
I'm the real mommy.
Yeah. Crazier things have happened. Did I hear correctly that the Great Muta was also announced as?
Oh yeah, that was announced. I think
going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's super cool. That's super cool. Did he ever wrestle under the WWF or WWE banner, or was it all just WCW? I feel like it was all just WCW, but still cool that they're doing that for him. Who inducts him, though? I know we've kind of talked about this, but Shinsuke, right?
Yeah, that's got to be Shinsuke.
It's got to be Shinsuke. They just had that match. They just had that match in Noah, and they did the whole the whole reversal thing, and
and we haven't seen Shinsuke since.
Nope. So there's got to be something there that they're planning to kind of fit in with that. Could this be the way you get Kota Ibushi? I don't know. I mean, he would be going to AEW if he was going anywhere, wouldn't he?
I think he would. Yeah,
he wants to work with Kenny again, but yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of other Japanese guys that they would, because they would. I mean, it's WWE. They're gonna have a Japanese guy do it, but who do we have other than Shinsuke?
Shinsuke seems,
he's the most logical. But his English sucks. So that's gonna be an interesting speech, Shinsuke, he'll stumble through something. It'll be 2 minutes, and that it'll be super quick, and they'll just do it like that. But it's probably what's happening.
That is probably what's happening. Other stuff they just kept going. Like there was a Charlotte and Rhea thing again, so we'll just keep seeing those, building it, but it's there's never a chink in fucking Charlotte's armor. She's so.
Did we get any more? Did we get any Bray stuff this week?
No, not that I remember. No Bray stuff. So I did read an article the other day where someone mentioned that, and I thought it was a good point. They were like, I think he's just in the wrong medium. Like, I just don't think pro wrestling, with what he's trying to do and whatever story he's trying to tell, you can't just have it end with now I've pinned you, you're gone. And there's like this disconnect that like it's just not doesn't really work in wrestling.
He needs to
Like what
be making shitty horror movies. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
I said it, I think when we talked the other night, maybe I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but if I'm them, the only way to save Bray at the moment is to bring back the Fiend at WrestleMania. I know he said he would never do it, that the Fiend's dead and all this, but fuck it. It's wrestling. You can do it. The Fiend versus Bobby Lashley is more interesting to me than current Bray versus Bobby Lashley. And that's the match they're going for. That's the feud that there is happening.
Yeah.
I do love how Brock Lesnar was like, nah, I ain't working with that guy. Like, nah.
Yeah, because apparently
you heard that too, right?
Yeah,
like,
I heard that too, that he was just said no.
No, I'm not doing that.
Which you and I
you'd rather work with Omos than Bray.
I mean, we did get that amazing VIP section segment.
Exactly. I did like that. But I mean, speaking of which, too, I got some weird Brock Lesnar fantasy booking.
Okay.
Make him the new leader of the Hurt Business alongside MVP. Bobby Lashley turns face. You get heel Brock, cocky heel Brock in a suit and tie, looking like, because we've had Cowboy Brock, right? Now we're going to get suit and tie Brock, looking fucking awesome, next to MVP as his mouthpiece, who is second only to really, Paul Heyman anyway. Perfect. Then you can have Almost as well still be in the stable. I don't really care about Cedric Alexander or Shelton Benjamin, but perfect way to bring up Carmelo Hayes as well. And if you wanted to turn the Street Profits heel and blend them into that, and now Brock is giving the rub to all these dudes. It's giving them, and you have a new stable that's a huge dominant stable for when the bloodline inevitably collapses. You've got that there in your back pocket with a huge star in Brock Lesnar. Fucking money, bro. Fucking money. Only thing is he's not black, so they won't do it. If they've got a stable of black dudes, you got to have a bunch of black dudes in there. But if they, right?
Can you imagine Brock Lesnar in blackface?
Now I have, and it's an interesting thing. But I think that's also the way you can elevate, in particular, Montez Ford of the Street Profits, because then you can do almost a Rock turn where he becomes the leader of the Hurt Business, and you can have a match and a feud between Brock Lesnar and Montez Ford. Sounds fucking nuts, but I'm here for it. This is my crazy, weird Brock Lesnar booking.
There's a lot of steps to get there, but crazier things have happened, man. It's wrestling. I don't hate your Brock Lesnar in Hurt Business thing. I just think Hurt Business can be done for good. I agree they do need a stable, and that stable does have history, so it makes sense. Like in canon, and like for them when Bloodline starts, you do need
they're gonna need it.
Stables.
Yeah, they're gonna need
especially because Judgment Day will still be strong.
Yeah.
They do. They do need something it would be a good way to diversify it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you have great killers, but then I just don't. Guess you just have to see how things go. But
otherwise, what are we doing with Brock then? Like because we
or
can't.
Do you think he just takes time off after this?
That's entirely possible as well. It's entirely possible after the Almost match. Like, and there's no way in hell he's gonna lay down for Almost. Like, Brock has to win that match.
Yeah.
And I could, but then you've just completely buried the Hurt Business. You've completely buried Almost, and Brock just goes on vacation again. Like, none of it does anything for anybody, I guess is my point. Like, whereas with this, you can use it to further storylines down the road. You can, I don't know, there's more potential to me. for me.
Yeah.
Like in doing something, ballsy like that. If you're not gonna do that with Brock, he's never gonna go. This is the thing. If you're not gonna do that with Brock, the only other option is him and Gunther. And I really want that.
Yeah,
I really want that
too.
It's just Brock and the IC championship picture is alien to all of us. Like, it doesn't seem like that's something that he would ever want to go for a mid-card belt, and I can understand that logic.
Yeah, I could understand that logic too.
But if you, I almost think that you have to get the belt off of Gunther before that can happen, and it's just not, there's no belt in that picture.
Yeah, there's no belt in that picture. So and Gunther's going to hold it for a while longer.
Well, or it's a Gable that takes it off him.
Yeah, I mean,
there's something
maybe,
there.
Yeah,
there's something there.
There is something there. You did. Yeah. One thing I forgot to bring up was Cena was there
with the whole theory thing. Yeah,
with the whole theory thing, and it was
a lot of people are saying that he completely buried theory in this kind of promo. Did you? I haven't seen it, so do you agree?
I thought it was good. I mean, he talked shit. Yeah. I mean, he did his job. He did what he was supposed to do, and fucking buried him. And actually, Theory did his job in his responses. It was good, man. He just said that you're not fucking big enough to warrant a match. You're not you want to be me. You've done things wrong. You don't have the track record to prove it. Talking about how he's dressing, how he acts, all these types of things, and he's just you don't deserve a match, and
I think that's what maybe people were commenting on is the fact that you're burying in a way.
He said you're a nobody.
Yeah, but this is a guy that's got one of your mid-card titles. You don't want to make him seem like he's completely nobody, right? You want to I do understand what people are commenting on with that. In that it's probably not the greatest move to have Cena just completely eviscerate you on the microphone and make you seem like you're nothing when it's a star that they're trying to build. And to this point, they've been doing quite a good job with. They have a lot. They have a lot invested with Theory. They have a lot invested with Theory. I actually think Theory is going to be a top level guy in the next couple of years.
Cena's going to put him over.
And Cena's going to have to put him over. Yeah.
And I think that's why you can get so personal and make it and talk that shit and make it happen.
It's a stepping stone for now. It's not the end goal.
And like I said, Theory reacted the way you should. He got angry and blah, blah, blah. But even when he said stuff, I was actually brought into a Theory segment that I was like, oh, okay, this now he has this fucking fire lit underneath him. He's I'm going to prove you fucking wrong.
I like that. It's also a way you could almost use it to sort of turn him face and get some sympathy out of it if you really want to as well, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. And like I said, he did get some jabs in. He made fun of his fucking balding hair.
Good.
Straight to his face, and fucking Cena took off his hat and fucking showed it to the hard cam. He had grown it out and slicked it back. Kind of, you could still see the bald spot, but it was slicked back. And he even said after that, he was he's the genetic something club, over 50 or 50 plus genetic club. He was I'm bald and I'm proud, and proud or something like that.
How old is Cena?
I think I looked it up. My mom asked. I think he's 50.
Is he actually 50?
No,
There's no way.
No, it was someone else who was 50. Sorry, Cena's 46,
47, something like that, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing. I'm making a total guess, but
he is just give me his age. Oh, 45. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I forget who was 50 that we looked up, but yeah, so but yeah, no, but he did lean into that, which I thought was good. And then, he kind of made fun of it. he had some dick joke. What was it at the end? When fucking Cena said something, he like tapped him in the balls, and then he was like, you need to do this, or something like. And then he's like, and then this, and then he's like, oh, and that last one after he hit him in the balls, he's like, you need to work on that one, like saying like you got small balls, you know, you got a small dick. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it was good, man. Like I said, so as much as you want to say like people might, I didn't see that, but like I didn't look into it. So if people are saying that, the first part maybe, but it was handled well.
Okay.
And it gives that fire, light
Fair
that
enough.
fire under it, I think.
What do you do then? Okay, so logically, you put Theory over, beats Cena, even through some maybe nefarious means or something like that, right? He wins. What do you do then with Theory and the United States Championship scene? Because I've told you, you know, like with just a couple different ideas with kind of Gunther and the Intercontinental, but I'm lost as to what you do on the other side with the United States and what you do with Theory from here. Who should be the guy that they elevate to be an actual competitor to Theory to take off that, you know, belt? I'm mixed. Like, I don't know what you do really with it. Like, it seems like it's treading water, right? Because
you had
Rollins,
so
the whole
people.
Rollins thing. Rollins should be in the title picture and maybe even take it off Cody at some point when Cody turns heel. So I think he's going to be elevated into the main event picture. Bobby Lashley is in, like, you know, the purgatory gray waters of everything. But we've seen Lashley Theory too many times that it's an uninteresting feud. So I don't think you do that.
I think you do.
Who do you go with? Who do you kind of move up?
Corbin. You could have him do something with Corbin.
Well, I think if you're eventually turning Theory face, Corbin's a perfect foil for Theory to beat.
Yeah.
I suggest this. Braun Breaker, a perfect way to bring him up and put him in a meaningful position with a mid-card belt on the main roster. I think Braun Breaker should be the guy that eventually takes it off Theory. He would look good with a U.S. title on him. It just fits.
Yeah.
No? You don't like it? You could say that.
All right.
You could say it.
It's all right.
But who else? But what do we do? Santos Escobar would be one.
Santos Escobar.
I love Santos Escobar. I wish he had more crowd support and more like more support in general, really. I think he's incredibly talented. I just don't know that I don't know that the fans are behind him enough.
Yeah.
I can see maybe a Carmelo Hayes being brought up, being put in that position. I think he would work quite well. Gargano would be the other one that I think would fit the mold.
He's the one.
He's probably the one.
Sorry, I'm looking at the roster right now.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out who.
It's tough though. It's tough. Like, who are they building? Like, who are they really working, you know, with on this one? And I, you know, I think Theory works better as a heel, so it would logically be a face.
Yeah.
Gargano is probably the one that I would go with if I was a betting man right now.
Could you Theory and LA Knight?
Both heels.
Oh yeah.
I would love, actually though, I would really like, I think it's too soon for that, but I would like to see LA Knight with a mid-card title. I think that's appropriate for him, and I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
If you're going to get to the point where Theory's losing upwards, which will likely happen with him, that might not be a bad call, but those are two despicable heels. you know, like, it doesn't work on that level.
What about Uncle Howdy? What if we have Uncle Howdy do it?
Let's just have Uncle Howdy do it. All kidding aside, like, I'm glad at least they're keeping Bray as far away from anything to do with any belt, you know, period. So if they got one part of the booking right, it's that.
Yeah, what if backstage he's like, well, so I've written in and blah blah, and they're like, no, you've lost that privilege. You can't go anywhere near a title.
No.
Go back to your fun house, whatever the fuck you're doing.
I think they have to. I seriously do think they have to bring back the Fiend to correct course on this.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Do you think so? Do you mind if I switch gears real quick?
Of course not.
They're doing Backlash in Puerto Rico.
Are they really?
Yeah, Bad Bunny's hosting it.
Wow, that'll be huge there. That'll be massive.
Yeah, so this is the first time they've gone.
Puerto Rico has venues. I'm not trying to be rude here, but I don't know what like venues they got in Puerto Rico. They have something that can actually hold them. Like that's...
Maybe the last big show was in 2005 with New Year's Revolution.
Oh wow!
There. So WWE's making a trip to Puerto Rico for Backlash. It doesn't say WrestleMania Backlash either.
Just Backlash.
Not that I haven't seen the graphic, but like at least in the reporting.
Okay.
So from Coliseo de Puerto Rico. I'm gonna look this up and look at the capacity.
Yeah.
Do you want to guess? Do you want to guess the capacity?
I mean, I think it's going to be more of an arena show, so I think you're looking under 20,000. You're not doing stadium, I'm guessing, if it's just an arena show. So you're probably looking at a 15 to 17,000 seater, something like that.
18.5.
All right, not far off. Not far off.
So
that's actually pretty big. That's actually that must
So Bad Bunny was a kid in 2005. And he wasn't able to attend, but 8 years later, he's gonna.
Good for him.
Host it.
Good for him.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's smart on them that they're doing this stuff. I think it's post COVID as well. Like they weren't doing a great job of international tours and pay-per-views and that type of deal prior to COVID, but now that Trips is in charge and we're out of the COVID era, the fact that we're doing. Yeah, Puerto Rico, and now we're doing obviously Money in the Bank in the UK. Like, this is a nice sign that they're expanding, and I think it will make for interesting viewing. It will make for interesting pay-per-views, the sets and locations, and and just kind of having a different vibe.
And to see how the different fans react, and bring a different energy to it, I think is cool.
Well, I'm interested to see what the Puerto Rican fans are going to be like. I know that there's a pretty rabid pro wrestling fan base in Puerto Rico. It's always been pretty big there. Be interesting to see what they're like at a WWE event. But more than anything, those fans, I can't wait to see what Money in the Bank in the UK looks like, because
that's going to be
those UK fans are
wild,
something else. They're incredible. Wild. We saw it at Clash at the Castle, right? Like what was kind of a mediocre show was half saved by that crowd. And now we're looking at like this Money in the Bank could be incredible with the way in my head things are like kind of cooking and the way they're going. I still say Sammy wins it, and I still think that that's what you do in the UK. It's either Sammy or Seth. That would be the logical thing. But either way, no matter how you look at that, that's going to go over huge. Like that'll be a massive pop. Now, also then imagine, because AEW announced the show in the UK around the same time. They haven't announced the date, but I think that AEW show, when they do it in the UK, will be absolutely electric. The fan base is there for that. That's the real wrestling fans in the UK are AEW fans more than I think they are WWE fans, and I think you're gonna get an incredible response.
There's gonna be a huge response.
Yeah,
and you can tell
that, maybe that's where you bring back Punk. It would work.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just threw that out there as a rando, but that's.
Or do they wait till September and bring them back at All Out in Chicago?
I don't know. That seems too predictable at this point to do another Chicago thing.
I don't know. They like to do predictable things.
They do.
Most of the time. What was I going to say? Did you see? Oh, I was going to say the Puerto Rico one, because it's after Mania. What if And because it's just a good way to maybe get all 6 of these people on the card and have it be one thing.
Mm-hmm.
What if you ended up doing like a trios tag match and it was Bloodline and Cody and Sammy and KO? I'd watch that match.
I'd watch that match. That could work.
Yeah, because it's like they don't all have to work super hard in a singles match. You're not taking up the entire card by having them in singles matches. People still get to see them. The eyes are on.
It's those pay-per-views are sort of a little bit throwaway anyway,
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
So you're
that's
kind
what I'm saying. You can kind of make it a weird thing.
Yeah. I don't hate that.
Yeah.
I don't hate that at all.
The other thing I was gonna say was, did you see where WWE's trying to make it so that people can bet, like legally gamble? Yeah. So apparently, from what I read,
that's gotta be
wow.
That's gonna be some interesting logistics with the whatever the gambling board is, and because
from what I read, they were saying someone said
I don't think you there's no way they would let any employee of the company.
So that's what they stated.
Yeah,
apparently, like whoever reported on this, I forget who had mentioned that they had said, well, the writers won't know the outcome of the match. Like they'll write it to a certain point and then like they won't know what's going to happen.
Bullshit.
It seems like a very bullshit thing that apparently the Colorado Gaming Commission has already like told CBS like we're not even
entertaining that. We're not,
like we're not even looking at it. But like it's not going to happen for scripted things. We're not doing it. They're thinking that maybe they're trying to do that to drive the sale price up even more, you know? So,
that's a good point, though. Yeah, that's a good point. If that were to go through, it would increase the value of the company exponentially. It would.
Yeah, it would.
It's definitely, that I never thought of it on that point. But from what I'm gathering with that whole deal, is they're really stuck on their $9 billion estimation of themselves. And I don't think that any company out there agrees with that evaluation. They think it's far too high. It's probably 6 to 7, and they're not willing to budge. So that's honestly what I'm hearing is kind of the holdup. Have you heard similar things?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
that's definitely. And I guess they're going to have next month, I think, they're sitting down with potential buyers and getting the first round of bids. I think next month is what it was said. So, but interesting. I mean, on top of that, did you hear Vince McMahon was at Raw on Monday?
I heard that, and I heard that he had a mustache.
A mustache. I hope it's an evil villain, thin.
That's what
mustache.
Everybody. Well. So when people said that, all the memes started going around, but it was because someone backstage said he had a pencil-thin evil mustache. That it was literally like and then like I'm sure you saw some of the photoshops where someone has like done it with the thing. I can picture it. I can picture it
too.
And it also creeps me out just picturing it.
Really creeps me out. I'm like, what timeline have we entered? Where now there's an eviler Mr. McMahon.
An eviler? How did it happen? Yeah.
How did it happen? And I guess they said they snuck him in, and then he just met with John Cena.
He was there to hang out with Cena. They're buddies. They're buddies.
Which Cena was apparently given full creative control over that segment, and
really?
Told to go out and do whatever. So I wonder if that was a thing where Vince because apparently he was in Gorilla all night.
He was in Gorilla, but wasn't calling anything. Yeah. So this was one of those like, don't everyone panic, in my opinion. Like I can actually see this to be somewhat of a legitimate thing. He's there. He wants to, he wants to see Cena. He wants to be part of it, but he's also, he might be I can see him like making like dickhead like shots at Triple H. I wouldn't have done it like that type of thing. Yeah. But not getting involved directly with the creative. Right. Stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't think, I truly don't think that Vince McMahon is involved in creative in WWE at the moment. Like I really actually don't. There's too many things that would never fucking happen under his watch that are happening for me to believe that. Personally. There's no way in hell that you get this Sammy push.
I don't think he's fully booking anything. I think he definitely lets his opinion be known because he
Right.
is also that number one, and because it is such a trying to drive the value up, like
I think yes.
he's probably like so like when certain things he might say like, hey, like from
We
this
should probably do
perspective,
this.
can you think about this, or like
Right.
does that seem like a good idea? Like how do you think this will affect the price? Maybe he's just saying things like that. Think about it that way.
I wouldn't doubt that. But I don't.
I don't think he's writing. I don't think he's tearing up scripts like he used to.
No.
I mean, the shows have obviously gotten much better.
They're more consistent now, at very least.
They're more storyline. Like we've seen those storylines. We see more things happening in the background. They've been doing that for a while now, but it's still happening. Like there's all these little Easter eggs that they treat it like this.
An actual ongoing
you
story.
can tell it was written and planned, and not written and planned, and then that plan was torn up day of and redone however he felt it needed to be.
Agreed. And that's why I think that we're still on a good track. I do think that, I mean, it is a much better product than before, so it's not always perfect, and neither is AEW, but I can't argue with the idea that I mean, think about this time last year, we're in far better position coming up on this Mania than we were for coming up on last year's Mania, so
we really are.
Positives, I'm trying to look at the positives.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess like the card, we'll just run through it real quick. I'll just run through it. It's obviously Reigns and Cody, Charlotte Flair and Ripley, Bianca Belair and Asuka, Brock Lesnar versus
First
Omos.
off, those 3 matches right there sells a card.
Yeah.
Like, you've already sold the card with those 3 matches. Those are fucking awesome. Those 3 matches are awesome lineups. And I'm not big on Charlotte, but that match will still be fucking good. That match will really over deliver.
History that
we talked about this a couple weeks ago or whatever, but it will be great.
We got Brock Lesnar versus Omos, Seth Rollins,
which will over deliver. Mark my words.
Over deliver, yeah.
Brock Lesnar and Omos is going to completely over deliver. Getting that man up for an F5 and doing it is going to be a spectacle in and of itself.
That we're going to get the spectacle.
That's it.
And then and Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul is going to be a banger.
It's going to be a banger.
Theory versus Cena's probably going to be good.
Better than we think.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Uso, Sami Zayn, KO. It's not announced, but we're gonna get that. Yep. So that will rule.
That'll rule. The other one that's announced is Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control.
Don't give a fuck.
But
we'll
get to see Trish.
Weakest match so far for sure. But I do get to look at Trish, so that's okay. Like it'll.
We got Bobby Lashley possibly versus Bray Wyatt. And then possibly possibly Dom and Ray. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, they still probably need, how many matches is that? Did you just read off the ones that are announced?
That's 1, 2, 5, 6, 7.
So 7. So plus another 3 that we know are probably happening.
That's 10. Yeah.
So that's 10. Oh, did you say Edge and Finn Balor? Because isn't that?
No, I didn't say that. Is that announced?
I thought it was.
Huh.
But that's certainly happening. That's going to be a step up. That's certainly happening. So that would make 11 matches total.
Yep.
That's for a WrestleMania 2-night card. That, in my opinion, I mean, all right. You need 3 more matches.
You do an Andre the Giant battle.
That's probably going to be in there, but you need 3 more matches so that you're doing 8 a night. Because that would be a standard to me. That would be the standard way to do it. You can probably do it with 6 a night. With the right matches, you can probably do it with 6 a night, but it's WWE, so they're going to do 8.
You have Gunther against someone?
Yes, it should. That should be it. It should be. It should be Gunther. Ooh.
LA Knight.
A squash. Just let Gunther go squash someone at WrestleMania. Perfect. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. That worked.
And is that his moment? Like his LA moment?
Yep. That'll be their closest version to a comedy match on the show. Like it'll
totally.
be something like that. I feel like you can
What else would
you could do something with the Street Profits. I do think you can do something there, like because it sucks because the tag belts are tied up by the Usos and like both on both sides. But I mean, maybe something with them or Viking Raiders. Not that I really care.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else you could possibly do.
Well, I guess we haven't talked about anything with like Sheamus and Drew and
Yeah, and that's what's happening, isn't it? With Gunther, that's what's happening. It's gonna be a triple threat probably.
Yeah, it'll be a triple threat
to get all three on the card, and Gunther has to win that.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. I mean,
yeah,
that's what has to happen. So okay, there's your other one. That makes perfect sense. Feel like, no. I was gonna say we maybe need another women's match on the card, but we don't, because there's not that much of a program. You've got women's tag team belts; they're gonna be defended. You've got the two, main titles; they're gonna be defended.
Carmella, but I think she gets in some other angles after Mania.
Yeah, I think you wait on that. I don't think that you need to thrust her into a Mania match. Although I do like Carmella a lot. I think that it's weird because her character, it doesn't lend itself so well to it. But she's turning face. Like she's slowly turning face in front of her eyes.
She can wrestle, and
she's gotten really good. She's gotten really good. Like I don't think she gets enough credit, and combined with her, that's what they'll do. Carmella, Lacey Evans, Carmella positioned as the baby face to win.
Oh yeah,
that's what they'll do. Something like that. That's got pre-show written all over it, but it's something that I can see them doing.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else we left off that who's been on TV for a while? Because you kind of have to be. I mean, the only one is LA Knight, and like, who would he have a?
Yeah,
I just keep throwing him out because he made that whole "I'm gonna have an LA" moment. So like,
they've got to include him.
WrestleMania. I'm not gonna have a WrestleMania.
Here's what I want to happen, because the Miz is announced as the host of WrestleMania, which is smart because he's a name. And people know the Miz, and he's got the Hollywood connections, and it's smart that he would be the guy. But you announce him, and you have him attacked by LA Knight, and LA Knight takes over the duties for the night. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And now you've established a feud between the Miz and LA Knight that you can do as an actual feud, and you've really made, like, you've sold the tickets, you've got the attention of the viewer by having the Miz as the host. You've already done that. Yet you're now establishing, for a lot of people that don't know who LA Knight is, look at this guy and look at his charisma, because he's got it in spades and would be a better host of the show than, like, he does it at the end of night one, right? And then that next night he's the guy.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
That's what you fucking do. Why don't they listen to us, bro? Why don't they listen to us?
I don't know. We should be fucking in those writing rooms.
So much better.
That would be a job that I would keep that job probably.
Do you want to go into the writing room right now?
Yeah, let's go into the writing room.
Let's do
it.
Well,
perfect.
We're going to go into an interesting writing room, because at the end of our last segment, I mentioned that we needed to book a match or card that would make Jim Cornette want to kill us. We could throw out a couple of matches. We can do whatever we want. But now we're in the writing room specifically. By the way, Vince Russo is sitting next to me as we do this.
Perfect.
To make this happen. Where do you even want to start? What would be the first? We got to get some flippy stuff in there on our card, right? We got to get some flippy stuff.
You got to get some comedy stuff in there.
Yeah.
You have to have some wrestlers who definitely are way too small to be wrestlers, like, Marco Stunt versus like Hornswoggle, or something like that.
I feel like Colt Cabana is gonna have to be on this card. I feel like Colt's gonna have to be in there. Colt Cabana defeats Kane in a
Yes.
match. Like I'm putting Colt Cabana versus Glenn Jacobs. He's not actually gonna be Kane. He's gonna be Glenn Jacobs. It's gonna be Colt
Okay.
Cabana defeats Glenn Jacobs in a conservative death match. Like
Conservative death match.
I'm
Okay, I
inventing
like
the new
that.
stipulation. It's a conservative.
Okay.
So everything is basically just like office supplies is all that you're allowed. It's like an office death match.
Yep.
You're like you can use like the judge gavel. You can use a stapler. You
Yep.
get like maybe there's some like printer and copy machine somebody can go through.
Yep.
And yeah, I think Colt Cabana, he comes out on top after putting his butt on the copier over Kane's face as he prints, things off as his like butt on the thing on his face. It's butt on face on the copy machine, prints a couple of those off and gets the 1, 2, 3 somewhere with that. That's my first match. That's my first match. He
hates it. He hates it.
He
All
hates
right,
it, right?
I got a match for you.
All right, let's go.
All right. So I had previously said it's going to be Marco Stunt.
Oh yeah, he's on there.
With it's going to be a triple threat tag team. So 3 tag teams.
Okay.
So we'll first
tornado tag team style.
Tornado tag team style.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have Orange Cassidy and Danhausen.
Fair. Yep. That already makes him mad. So that's good. Pockets, as he calls him, pockets.
Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss as another team.
Oh yeah. That's good.
And then we're gonna have Marco Stunt and
Darby Allin would be a good
Darby Allin and Marco Stunt and not once during this match is Orange Cassidy going to really wrestle. It's all his joke style of wrestling.
Yep.
And when he does like the kicks and stuff like that, Joey Janela is going to oversell and fall into tacks and like things like that and try and like light something on fire.
He's going to be doing the Hogan Shawn Michaels selling on everything. But he's only hurting himself. For some reason, there will be light tubes that Joey Janela will find and fall through, even though they're nowhere near the ring, that type of thing.
Yep. He's going to light Darby's jacket on fire at one point as a thing, which will go horribly wrong for a little bit. Like Darby will be okay, but he's not going to be able to get it off. Like the jacket's been rigged, but like,
I got the finish. Darby wins. Darby's teaming with who? Who's Marco Stunt, right? Yeah, Marco Stunt. Winner of all right. So there's going to be a lot of fire stuff, I think, right? The jacket on Darby, coffin drop, flaming jacket onto Joey Janela for the 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. That's it. And at one point before that, just during it, just to piss, like Darby might not be involved in this one, and like Orange may just be like leaning in the corner, but like Sonny Kiss will be in there with like Danhausen and Marco Stunt, and they'll have a twerk off.
Yeah.
In the middle of the match.
Danhausen will get involved and start doing a weird cursed twerk thing. Like, This is all good.
Happen.
This is good.
That's a good. So I think he would hate that match.
So we're going to also have to put our thing from, I believe, last week or the week before on here too, because I do need a Tope Suicida competition. Bray's in there. Almost is in there. Who else do you want to? We're gonna have a lot of guys in here. Like it's like a battle royal, but a Tope Suicida. It's kind of like the old reverse battle royal idea, but like over the top rope on yourself. Who does the worst and best Tope Suicidas? Who can we throw in here? Top Dollar's in there, of course.
Top Dollar's in there. Let's throw Braun in there.
Braun, yep. Let's get him in there.
Braun's gonna get in there.
We're gonna resurrect Vader and put him in the match.
Yep. Let's have
who else we got?
Be in a Tope Suicida match.
A Tope Suicida match. Do we need? I love this concept. All right. The Giant Gonzalez also dead. We're putting him in there. He's going in. Earthquake needs to be in it.
Yeah,
Earthquake needs to be in there.
Yep, he needs to be in there. We should probably
Oh, Gunther needs to be in there too. Gunther and
Yeah.
Brock probably need to both be in this. Like a complete waste of their talents.
Yeah,
just
100%.
Yeah. Let's just try and have them do that and kill
Do that.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can add people to this later down the
We can
road
add
because
people to this later. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you do a like? Do you do like a Kenny Omega versus KO?
Oh. Nah, he'd like it because he likes KO. I think
You think he actually?
he
likes
secretly likes KO. He doesn't want to
Okay.
admit it. He secretly does.
Well, who does Kenny Omega? Well, I guess you have that. You could do the Elite, or you could do a triple threat.
I think you
Oh,
do.
here you go. The Elite take on an imaginary trios team.
Oh, well, yes, exactly. Yeah. Or 3 blow-up dolls, possibly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you end up doing.
Mhm.
And Tony Khan films it for one of his little things
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
empty
yeah.
arena.
Yeah.
It's like it's his cinematic match.
And it ends up in the Firefly Funhouse somehow. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it does. Like it's there. That could work. That's good. Ooh.
Yeah, there it is. The Elite take on like invisible or blow up dolls inside the Firefly Funhouse, and it just keeps like it's like a green screen that's like changing colors and stuff like that.
All right, let's get our main event. Let's get our main event here. Let's figure this out because that's a good setup to the main event. But
Do you have like?
we need a women's match. We need very small women. We need Riho. We need Riho to beat
Jordan Grace.
We need Riho to beat Rhea Ripley. Is what we need. We need. That's what we need. Real small chick that's
And Rhea Ripley gets no
offense. No offense at all.
I mean,
completely just squash job by Riho. Yeah. That's what we do there. That's our women's match.
Could you do we just is it like Vince Russo versus someone else? Is that your main event?
Vince Russo goes over Tony Khan. No, he'd like that though. He'd probably like that. He would maybe a Vince versus Vince. I mean, no, I don't know if I go with that. How can we make him mad? Something with NWA or Ring of Honor. We need we need Danielson in the main event. He likes Danielson. But we need Danielson to lose to somebody. Oh, he hates Jon Moxley. Have Jon Moxley. Yeah, just have Moxley beat Danielson convincingly and make it. Yeah, that's what you do. That would piss him off.
Or it's just the main event is just Jon Moxley in the ring.
Yeah,
just blading himself.
Just that is it. Yeah, how much blood can Moxley do?
Before he's taken out. Before they have to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, Jon Moxley both won by DQ and lost by DQ somehow. I don't know.
How long until you? See if you can make it this long without passing out due to blood loss. Match with yourself.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good pay-per-view there, my friend.
Pretty good pay-per-view there.
I think we did exactly what we set out to do there. Was book a match that would make Jim Cornette want to kill you. Yeah, we did it.
Yeah. We did it. He may have had a heart attack listening to that.
Yeah. Good on him.
Yep.
Oh, I think that being said, it's a perfect place for us to wrap up this show.
Yep.
I dare say we had a good one today here, buddy. Like,
it was good.
We're on a roll with these things. We've been having a lot of really good shows lately, and we thank every single one of you for listening. If you listen on the podcast, make sure to be in our Facebook group because you need to be in our group, facebook.com/groups/ONO Wrestling. Make sure you're in that group because we have a lot of great chats and it's also a place that you can find out when we're going to be going live. Make sure to also, of course, subscribe and have your notifications on for our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/ONRS Live. That's the easiest place because sometimes our schedules are all over the place for you to know when we're going live, and you can interact in our chat room and all that whatnot. If you ever want to leave us a voicemail, though, too, you can do that. That's over 407-906-6466. And man, I dare say,
and join up for the Discord.
That's right.
Go to the Facebook, ask in the group for a link.
Yeah.
And we'll send you a link. We go over there when pay-per-views are on. We didn't get to do it this last time. That doesn't mean that you all can't get in there and obviously have conversations when the pay-per-view's happening. Just Owen and I were busy traveling with and doing other things this past one, but we're typically in there and it's a good time. You can just chat live during the pay-per-views.
Indeed. Thank you for listening. This has been another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. Let's, when we get out of here, Matthew, we like to give him a little bit of a taste of some good energy, and we'll do that with a little bit of this and a, woo, 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 woo!